of 2013 on livestream.com/Avry Sports. Unfortunately, as I saw on Twitter, phone lines are acting wonky again. Wah wah. Trying to get Reggie Haynes on. Talk about Town Beach Football. That's the league. It's called Town Beach Football. Full contact, no pads league. No pads football league in the States. They have leagues sprouting up in New Jersey, Texas, Massachusetts. I will put a link up on YouTube after the show's done. It is maybe one of the most interesting leagues in sports because they have a code of conduct. There's no swearing. There's no dogpiling. There's no fighting. All of these will get your team penalties or ejections. And they say that there's no broken bones are rare. The worst a guy will get in Town Beach football is maybe a bloody nose, which to some may seem outrageous, but to me, as a football connoisseur, I think it's kind of believable. So hopefully we can get the phone lines working again. And of course, thank you all in the chat room for tuning in. An absolute blast. Got guys like Call of Duty, Avry Edmonton 1, you clown. Vintage Rick Michaels, the color commentator for the Nate Ooks men's and women's hockey team. Of course, I've always said on Avry Sports Show that with Avry Sports Show, we never say that hockey was gone. There's always been hockey. I always said that we didn't have the NHL. Hockey was always around us. We had the American Hockey League. We had the Canadian Hockey League. We had the Alberta Junior Leagues, the junior leagues all across the provinces and the American states. And we had the CIS. We had ACAC hockey. It was all around there. I mean, heck, people paid more attention to bantam hockey, which I thought was fantastic. Give these kids attention. And in my mind, that's great. It's absolutely fantastic stuff. And of course, right there, Call of Duty, more attention came to the fact that the London Knights of the Ontario Hockey League are on a 24-game winning streak. 24-game win streak. That is incredibly tough at any level. I don't care if it's the OHL, the NHL. It's tough. It is so, so tough. So you know what we'll do? For Mr. Gabriel Morency, we will try to get his number in Vegas. We'll see what we can do. The good old-fashioned calling out to get our guests onto the program. That's what we will have to do if that becomes the case. That's what we will have to do if that becomes the case. And of course, in the sports world, so much happening. We'll talk to Gabe about the BCS title game and other games that happened in the NCAA. Of course, bowl season, over 30 games. It's always chaos. It's always fun watching these games, seeing if the underdog can get it done, if the undefeated team can remain undefeated. And of course, in that sense, the undefeated team staying undefeated did not happen as Notre Dame, well, how do we explain that title game? The title game was, well, disappointing. Very disappointing on both fronts. I thought the Notre Dame would come with more fire, much more fire. And it was clear from the start, Alabama was just the better team. Eddie Lacy, what a running back for Alabama. What a running back, my word. Eddie Lacy, this guy, he'll be a running back in the National Football League that will make big-time defenders miss consistently. This is a guy that he didn't even really run over guys. It was all spin move. And he made his way to the end zone. He made it look so easy. And the entire Alabama offense made things look so easy. And Catherine Webb looked so attractive. Yes, I got to it. A.J. McCarron's girlfriend, the quarterback for Alabama Crimson Tide. Oh, I just thought it was so funny how good old-fashioned. I'm laughing because everybody was talking about it, and then Brent Musburger, the legendary Brent Musburger, the man who's commentated so many NBA Finals games, Super Bowls, World Series. I mean, the list goes on and on and on for Brent Musburger, and he became so flustered, and so his composure went out the window when they panned the camera on her. It became funny. It was really funny to see how Brent Musburger, the legend, just became unglued looking at her. Can't really blame him though, now can I? And it's funny because earlier in the week she had only about 5,000 Twitter followers. And she now has, thank you my imposter, Avry of Edmonton 1, 175,000. Social media and the way that we see sports now and how stuff like that will just make you popular within 2 minutes, it makes me laugh. It makes me laugh so very, very much. It's funny. It truly is incredibly funny. Of course, if you want to hit me up on the title game, tweet me at Avry, at AVRY, or join the livestream.com chat room. Have a ball. We're all in here enjoying the sports, enjoying the show as Avry Sports Show returns to livestream.com. Or email me at fightingpike1@hotmail.com. Many ways to get in touch with me, except the phone lines are down. That's unfortunate. Not great to have that happen on the first week or back, but what can you do? I'm only human. I was going to say, we're only human. I don't have mice in my pocket. Or do I? No, but national title game. I will give credit to Alabama. Great game they played. And on their first 3 drives, Alabama scored. It was just so shocking to see a guy like Manti Te'o, great linebacker for Notre Dame, just be so confused, just be so befuddled by what Alabama was throwing at him. The Notre Dame defense didn't know what was coming over and over and over again. They just couldn't figure it out. And they did score, but it was too late. And they were down 42-7. And the game ended. The game ended 42-14 for Alabama. And you know what? You may not like him. I'm not a fan of him. But Nick Saban is one of the best college coaches out there. I will give the man credit, even though I do not like Nick Saban. Have to admit when a man is good in that sense. And I will most definitely do that. So, of course, we'll try and get Gabe on for 6:30. We'll talk some more college football, get his thoughts on the game, get his thoughts on the NFL wildcard weekends. Of course, me being a Packers fan, seeing Green Bay beat Minnesota, that made me very happy. Made me very, very, very happy seeing the Green Bay Packers get it done. And I knew it would be an interesting game for Green Bay. Once we saw Christian Ponder out for the Minnesota Vikings with that elbow injury. And in comes Joe Webb, the guy who I think will go down in history as the guy, no, not I think, he will go down in history as the quarterback that replaced Brett Favre after his streak of 296 straight starts ended a few seasons ago. Joe Webb, I thought he's a project. He's a big guy. The Vikings have experimented with him before at kick returner, wide receiver, but he has an arm. In that game against Green Bay, well, that certainly was an interesting game. As we saw Joe Webb, one of the big things you're taught as a quarterback is to take the sack. If you're behind the line of scrimmage, if you're down, take the sack. Do not throw the ball up. And Joe Webb did that often and was incredibly lucky that his passes were not picked off, because that Packers-Vikings game could have been much worse than 24-10. That game could have easily been 42-10 or 52-10. And I am not exaggerating that in any sense of the matter. That game really could have been nuts. And Vintage Vic, we'll get to that game in a second as we go through the rest of the games. And of course, in the AFC, the Baltimore Ravens knocked off the Indianapolis Colts. And before this game, earlier in the week, Ray Lewis announced he was going to retire. And coming back after tearing a muscle. I mean, Ray Lewis was supposed to be out for the rest of the year. And what does the man do? He comes back and plays in the AFC wildcard game and makes 13 tackles. How do you stop Ray Lewis? How, I ask you? And then to put him in on offense, the last play of the game, his last game ever in Baltimore. A fitting story. I'd have liked to seen Indianapolis continue the story and Chuck Strong live on for another day, but it wasn't meant to be, as Andrew Luck gets his first test of how tough it is to win in the playoffs. Andrew Luck and his Colts team, they'll be back here again for many years to come. They silenced the critics. They silenced me. I definitely did not see this happening at all. Kudos to the Colts for getting this far. If they had beaten Baltimore, imagine the amount of shock and awe and admiration people would have given this Indianapolis Colts team if they found a way to go on the road and beat Baltimore. I'd have been most definitely impressed by that. And we'll get to some more wildcard game talk and more bowl game talk after the break. And we will track down one Mr. Gabriel Morency in Las Vegas, Nevada. This is Avry Sports Show on livestream.com/Avry Sports. Stay tuned.